Hit that subscribe button right now, or every time you microwave something, it'll explode. Creatures that unsettle, defy scale, and refuse easy answers.
Are these aliens or what?
Because lately, what's been caught on camera doesn't feel like nature following its own rules anymore.
This is the nastiest thing I've ever seen.
Ribbon worm. A man walking through the woods spotted what looked like a dead snake lying in the dirt, but when he got closer, it didn't look like any snake he'd ever seen. Its body was slick, smooth, and shiny, almost like rubber. Out of curiosity, he nudged it into a nearby pond. That's when things got weird. Thin, root-like strands began spreading from its sides, anchoring it to the water. He caught the whole thing on video, and it immediately went viral. People thought it was a mutant, maybe even something alien. Turns out, it was a ribbon worm, a real creature, just rarely seen. But honestly, that almost makes it creepier. Mystic crawl. You've probably seen salamanders before, but not one like this. A man in Japan was walking near a river when he noticed what looked like an orange pipe lying by the water. When he got closer, he realized it wasn't a pipe at all. It was alive. A massive salamander, completely orange from head to tail. He just stood there, watching it slowly crawl back toward the river. He didn't try to stop it or touch it. He just let it go. After all, seeing something that rare, that unique, almost felt like a once-in-a-lifetime moment. Spiky walker.
This is the second time we've seen this type of crab.
Some explorers were heading back from a forest expedition when they noticed what looked like a pile of branches lying on the ground. But then, it moved, slowly and deliberately. That's when they realized it wasn't wood at all. It was alive. The creature turned out to be a neolithides, a type of spiky crab rarely seen outside the deep sea. Its shell was covered in thick, sharp spines that made it look more like an alien than a crab. Those spikes aren't just for looks, though. They're its built-in armor, keeping predators far away. Yard worm. In Glenmore Park, Texas, a lawn worker got the shock of his life while digging up a patch of dried grass. Just beneath the surface, he found a massive worm tunneling through the soil, thick, long, and disturbingly strong. He said it took all his strength to pull it out, and even then, the ground around him was riddled with deep, winding tunnels. The damage it caused was real. Entire patches of lawn had collapsed. No one believed him at first, until they saw the holes. Let's just say, after that, no one in that neighborhood felt safe working barefoot again. Breathing blob. At a construction site, a worker noticed something strange lying near a pile of sand. It wasn't trash or a broken tool, it was alive. The thing had bubble-like sacs on its back that inflated and deflated, almost as if it were breathing. It moved slowly on what looked like 3 small arms, dragging several thin tails behind it. The man filmed it and uploaded the clip, and within hours, the internet lost it. Some said it looked like an octopus that got stuck on land. Others claimed it was some kind of mutant creature born out of pollution. Whatever it was, it didn't belong on a construction site. The living metal. In 2018, a fisherman in Hainan, China, noticed something strange clinging to the underside of his trawler while it was being repaired. It looked like clusters of sea barnacles, except these were moving. They had long, fleshy arms poking out and waving rhythmically, almost like they were alive. People later called them rabbit ear barnacles, and the footage went viral online. Watching them pulse and twitch under the light was both mesmerizing and creepy. Just one of those weird ocean things that make you wonder what else is living out there, hiding in plain sight. Eel gobies. At the coast of Queensland, Australia, a beachgoer stumbled upon something that looked straight out of a horror movie. Strange purple creatures washed up on shore, small but menacing. With sharp teeth, curious, he used a crab claw to open one of their mouths, only to find tiny fangs that looked far too sharp for their size. These eerie creatures were eel gobies, or worm gobies. Despite their terrifying appearance, they're harmless, about 30 centimeters long and only hunt tiny fish and crustaceans. Still, anyone who's seen them up close would agree, they look like something that shouldn't exist. Eyed creature. On November 11th, 2024, in India, a researcher stumbled upon something that left him completely speechless. While out searching for new species, he found a creature clinging to a tree, its body covered in multiple round, black eyes, almost like they were watching him from every angle. Its tentacle-like limbs wrapped tightly around the bark, gripping it as if it didn't want to be found. He took a sample for study, but no one's been able to identify what it was. Later, a video surfaced online showing a similar spherical, multi-eyed organism in a secret lab, and people started wondering if this was the same thing or something that escaped. Living sand. While exploring the ocean floor, a diver spotted something strange, a flat, patterned shape lying quietly in the sand. It blended so perfectly with the seabed that it looked like part of it. But when the diver gently tapped it, everything changed. The creature suddenly came to life, folding its body into a long, snake-like tube before darting away into the dunes. The movement was so fluid it didn't even seem real. Some experts say it could have been a giant flatworm. Others think it might be something undiscovered. In the deep sea, anything that hides that well probably wants to stay that way. Blackberry fish. Out of all the strange catches from the sea, this one definitely stood out. A fisherman pulled up 2 blackfish with faces that looked like raspberries. At first, he thought something had attached to them, maybe octopus eggs or parasites. But no, this was part of their body. These were rare blackberry goldfish, or oranda, a unique breed known for the berry-like growth on their heads. It looks bizarre, but it's completely natural. Just another example of how nature has its own strange sense of creativity, and sometimes beauty hides behind the weirdest designs. Moving ridge. A worker was walking across a quiet stretch of sand when he noticed something strange, a long, winding ridge etched into the ground. It looked too smooth, too perfect, almost like something had carved it from beneath. One end curved like a tail, the other like a head. He assumed it was just a pattern made by the wind until it moved. The entire ridge shifted slightly, almost like something alive was buried under it. He froze, watching for minutes, but whatever it was stayed hidden. Maybe it was an animal, maybe not. The desert doesn't always give up its secrets that easily. Texas worm invasion. Back in 2015, a man in Texas noticed something weird after a few days of heavy rain. The roads were covered with clumps that looked like tangled threads, but when he looked closer, they moved. They were earthworms, hundreds of them, wriggling across the street in clusters. It wasn't something you see every day, and no one could really explain why they gathered like that. Some said it was because of flooding, others thought it was something else entirely. Either way, the scene looked straight out of a horror movie. Huntsman cluster.
I'm really not scared of spiders. When you see all those bloody huntsmen there, you get a bit of a fright.
On October 31st, 2023, a beekeeper in New South Wales got the shock of his life. While clearing out his old beekeeping gear, he lifted a concrete block, expecting maybe a snake. But instead, he found a writhing mass of huntsman spiders, all tangled together. Dozens of long legs, moving in sync, like one giant organism. It was a horrifying sight, even for someone used to Australian wildlife. When he shared the video online, people jokingly called it a huntsman rave party, but most agreed that's the kind of surprise you never want to find under a block. Sewage worms. Back in April 2018, after days of non-stop rain in Houston, a man found something deeply unsettling in his backyard. At first glance, it looked like a pile of flesh, writhing, red, and pulsing. The man called it a sewage monster. Experts later identified it as a massive cluster of tubifex worms, tiny sludge worms that usually live in polluted waters. Heavy rain had washed them out of the sewers and onto land, forcing them to clump together in this horrifying mass. They feed on decay, thrive in filth, and somehow manage to look straight out of a nightmare. The mantis farm. This one's straight out of a sci-fi movie. A traveler stopped by a small coastal farm to rest, only to notice something strange. Dozens of pools filled with mantis shrimp, thousands of them, trapped and squirming. Turns out, the farm belonged to a man who called himself a scientist. He'd apparently been keeping them for some kind of experiment. The traveler alerted authorities, and the shrimps were eventually freed. But here's the strange part. When they searched for the so-called scientist, he was gone, completely vanished. You made it to the end. You're the real ones. Here's a special entry just for you guys. Creepy pet? A subscriber sent in this clip, and while it's digitally enhanced, it reminds us that not all strange creatures are fiction. In Taiwan, a man named Neil Cheng became known for his bizarre pet, a giant Peruvian centipede. Unlike any garden bug, this one stretched over 40 centimeters and moved with unsettling precision across his arm. Neil claimed he raised it from a tiny hatchling and understood its behavior, but experts warned that a single mistake could end badly. Whether it's fascination or madness, keeping such a creature close blurs the line between curiosity and danger.